Biotechnology is a rapidly advancing area and a technological field of huge potential. In my view, it's right up there with AI as the ones to watch for the upcoming decade, and I already have a video on this if you'd like to explore further. Today, I hope to give you an immersive insight into the alternative world of biotechnology, right from the magic happening at the molecular level to the larger scales of manufacturing. At its heart, biotechnology is about harnessing biological systems, organisms, or their derivatives to help develop innovative products or solutions. This development requires a blend of biology, chemistry, genetics, technology, business knowledge, possibly entrepreneurship, and multiple others. Biotechnological products have already contributed massively to industry, ranging from personalized medicine to bionic arms and climate change solutions. Our journey into biotechnology actually traces its roots back to the dawn of humankind, from the Egyptians using yeast fermentation to make bread, to the Aztecs who used spirulina algae in cooking. Fast forwarding to the 1940s, a bioprocess engineering unit operation called deep tank fermentation facilitated mass manufacture of penicillin. With the structure of DNA being elucidated a decade or so after, genetic advances and rapid biotechnological growth ensued in the 1970s. In 2003, a monumental milestone was reached where a comprehensive map of the human genetic code was demonstrated, and as we approach modern day, these techniques are starting to be used in a variety of applications like trials for cancer treatment. These historical markers underscore the evolution of biotechnology into a $1.37 trillion market size, with a soaring growth rate and a broad array of product types to boot. At present, biotechnological applications are classed by colour, like red biotechnology being at the heart of medical advancements focusing on pharmaceuticals and healthcare and developing life-saving drugs and therapies. White biotechnology revolutionises industrial processes via organisms for eco-friendly manufacturing. And we have colours for other segments like computers and AI, agriculture, marine, intellectual property, and so on. We will touch upon each of these as we venture around this interlinked mind map of present-day biotechnology. Starting with fundamental cell biology, where different cell types like eukaryotes in multicelled organisms, single-celled prokaryotes, and the many thousands of chemical processes mathematically modelled in metabolic flux analysis form the cornerstone. At the heart of this is DNA, the molecule of heredity. DNA's intricate double helix structure stores vast amounts of biological information, all dictated by the sequencing of 4 bases in the backbone. Accompanying DNA is messenger RNA and transfer RNA, crucial intermediate molecules in the process of gene expression. Through transcription in a catalytic machine called a ribosome, assembly of amino acid building blocks into proteins occurs in a process called translation. This is at the heart of all cellular activity, as well as the vast array of cell types, from disease-fighting antibodies, stem cells in regenerative medicine, to cyanobacteria for fertilizers and water treatment. Developing this further leads us to the revolutionary area of genetic engineering. Here we see the fusion of deep-seated understanding on DNA with cutting-edge techniques like recombinant DNA, where specific DNA segments from an organism are inserted into biological vectors like plasmids. These plasmids get placed back into a host cell where they replicate through amplification techniques like PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, which uses a singular genetic DNA strand from the helix as the template for building further identical DNA strips. Once replicated, they perform their desired function. Closely related is gene editing through techniques like CRISPR-Cas9, allowing for precise modification of targeted genetic segments in an organism's DNA. Cas9 enzymes are paired with an RNA molecule that matches a particular part of the target organism's DNA. This guides the enzyme to the corresponding location, where Cas9 acts as a molecular scissor, cutting the DNA, allowing modifications to be introduced. Some prime examples of these types of techniques and genetic engineering in use range from production of COVID-19 vaccines and insulin, to cloning, like Dolly the sheep, biofuels, or golden rice, where a rice plant is genetically engineered to make beta-carotene, which has aided in combating malnutrition in developing regions of Africa and Asia. Or in precision fermentation, describing the overarching use of genetically engineered organisms for targeted production of food ingredients and much more. Sidestepping over, nanobiotechnology is a rapidly evolving multidisciplinary field. We can have nanobots, tiny robotic machines capable of navigating complex biological landscapes for things like targeted drug delivery. Beyond this, we can use nanoparticles as biomarkers, that is, biological indicators. These might be quantum dots, gold nanoparticles like in COVID-19 test strips, or much more. Other nanoscale technologies can be used for targeted cancer drug delivery, like micelles, liposomes, carbon nanotubes, or nanocellulose. And whilst we're on this topic, we can have nanocomposite materials where nanocellulose networks are laced with cleaning enzymes for water treatment. Slightly differently, we can use a nanopore, a specifically designed nanometer-sized hole in a thin membrane, to determine the genetic base sequence in DNA based on electrical currents, and we call this sequencing. Whilst we're on the topic of sequencing, let's hop over to computers. Bioinformatics, situated at the confluence of biotechnology and computer science, emerges as a transformative multidisciplinary field. Here, computational methods serve as the linchpin for processing, analysing and extracting profound insights from vast and intricate biological datasets. For example, using DNA sequencing, we can obtain vast sequences of genetic data, which when combined with AI, might be able to establish links between particular base sequences and diseases. We can then use gene editing, modifying these for disease treatment. In a similar manner, in the field of transcriptomics, computers can link sequencing data to understand any patterns in how genes are activated. Alternatively, proteomics studies the relation of highly advanced folding and structures of proteins and how these relate to application. AlphaFold, produced by Google DeepMind, leverages bioinformatics to predict complex 3D protein structures for a given sequence of building blocks, and one of its many uses since has been discovering plastic-eating enzymes for recycling. Closely related, biological electronic devices like wearable fitness and health devices are rapidly gaining popularity. We can also have defibrillators for resuscitation, electrochemical biosensors for measuring glucose concentration for diabetic patients, or even brain-computer interfaces which allow for direct communication between someone's brain and an external device like a robot arm. The interfaces will convert neural activity into commands that control devices. The incredibly diverse materials sector sees uses across healthcare for artificial heart valves, bone implants, or stents for propping clogged blood vessels open. Bio-inspired materials find uses in the energy sector, some of which are based on hydrogels, 3D networks of intertwined water-loving polymers. These can act almost like the sponge cells of a leaf to create an efficient bio-inspired solar cell. Or we can incorporate DNA into the hydrogel to make a material used in so-called biobatteries for energy. Closely related to materials is tissue engineering. We're interested here in developing functional cellular clusters, organs, and so on that can be useful for a given application. We might grow our cells or organs through different culture methods, or via cell sheet engineering, which involves creating and manipulating intact cell sheets to form functional tissues for regenerative medicine, like repairing heart or cochlear issues. Particularly interesting are stem cells, undifferentiated cells that have the ability to become multiple specialized cell types, highly useful in repairing damaged organs. Now, scaling up to the realm of bioprocess engineering, biotechnology and classical chemical engineering join forces. Here, the spotlight falls on unit operations for the transformation of raw biological materials into valuable products. The heart of this is typically a bioreactor, where the main biological product is produced under very precise and controlled reaction conditions, and modelled using well-positioned sensors and mathematical equations. Delving deeper into more specialist reactor types, we can have photobioreactors involving algae, or fuel cells. I won't delve into all the reactions here. This device uses microbes as the electron exchange agent to keep current flowing around a circuit. Downstream processing follows a bioreactor, purifying and refining bioproducts, ensuring their quality for diverse applications. This can be done via techniques like homogenization, which mechanically breaks open cells, particularly useful if our desired products are made and retained inside the organism's cells. Futuristic concepts are emerging too, like bioprinting, a revolutionary technology combining biology, engineering, and 3D printing techniques. Here we load a specialized printer with bioink, which is a mixture of living cells and supporting materials. Coupled with a digital blueprint, we can print biological tissues and even organs. Alternatively, organ-on-a-chip technology mirrors human organs' function in microscale devices, facilitating real-time testing of drugs and diseases with remarkable accuracy, thus accelerating drug discovery. As exciting as all this sounds, the likes of genetic engineering, bioinformatics, and all of these technologies falling into the wrong hands is a dangerous threat. Policies for ethical use, genetic privacy, and safeguarding individuals' sensitive information do exist and will need to be carefully monitored going forward. There are moral issues as well, along the lines of tampering with Mother Nature and the effects of genetically modified organisms on ecosystems. Like artificial intelligence, striking a balance between biotechnological progress and ethical boundaries is imperative. And that does it for this one, and I hope this video sparked your curiosity into biotechnology, an immensely exciting field and certainly one to watch. Pop the area that captures your curiosity the most in the comments below. And as usual, please do consider subscribing, sharing, and signing up to Chemify's mailing list at chemify.com.